Are young drivers ready for the road?
Drivers aged between 17 and 19 only make up 1.5% of UK licence holders. However, they are involved in 12% of serious and fatal crashes.
One in four 18 to 24-year-olds crash within 2 years of passing their driving test. The progression from taking driving lessons and passing your test to driving without any assistance or guidance is a hurdle for many young drivers.
Do I think that the driving lessons give you all the information you need to know? I'd probably say yes and no. I'd probably say that they give you all the essentials you need to know, but there are quite a few other things as well, like negotiating complex junctions and working out signals and such, but really you sort of gain that through your own driving experience.
Yeah, I think their driving lessons are a good way to teach you how to drive. People, someone sat next to you, being able to control it and stuff.
The amount of young drivers on the road is constantly increasing, but so is the number taken off the road due to accidents, unlawful behaviour, and a lack of understanding of their ability and how the road works.
I think driving instructors should be able to teach on motorways because, I passed 2 years ago. I still haven't been on a motorway.
I think driving instructors should be able to allow you to go on lessons on the motorway, as that would be a very useful experience, as they're certainly these days, since they're so busy and clogged up, you need to be well experienced with them.
The differences on the roads now to when I started driving is obviously there's more traffic, a lot more traffic, more congestion, and the conditions of the roads have got worse.
The amount of confidence that many young drivers have in their ability has the potential to be both a help and a hindrance, with the ability to believe in the decisions they are making whilst on the road.
I feel overall pretty confident now with my driving. There's still few odd occasions where my driving is a little bit naff, but we all have that occasionally.
I feel more confident now driving than I did when I first took my test, and that comes with experience and practice.
I'm a lot more confident driving now. It's not as you get used to it after so long.
This usually builds up over time as they gain experience. Overconfidence, however, can cause young drivers to make rash decisions, and this can cause accidents.
The information and guidance I would give for new drivers these days is that they might be the best driver on the road, or think they are, but there's also worse drivers on the roads.
The overall information guidance that I think drivers should probably be given is just because you passed your test does not mean you're the best driver in the world and all that. You need to still be careful about it and remember the fact that you're still really learning even though you've passed your test.
The main lesson should be safe driving. Not getting ahead of yourself.
Many young drivers pass their driving tests without the knowledge and understanding of how to run their car and how to act on the road. This can be seen by the fact that between 2008 and 2012, 1 in 8 drivers were hurt as a result of a crash involving a young driver.
I feel that young drivers these days are given more knowledge of car mechanics, as when I took my driving test we weren't shown underneath the bonnet or how to fill cars up with petrol or even to check the tyre pressures.
I don't believe new drivers have that much efficient knowledge in how to work the mechanics of a car. That tends to be something really that they just don't really talk about. So really it's something that you do kind of have to pick up on your own, and I think it's something that would be useful if they did actually teach you some bits of that.
I think there could be a lot more in the way of teaching about the way the car works. In my lessons I got a few looks under the bonnet, but that was it.
More than half of young drivers underestimate the cost of insurance. The average cost for an 18 to 20-year-old is £972 a year.
I believe my insurance was sort of relatively reasonable. I mean, you could probably call it expensive, but it's just the way how things go, you know. Your first time driving, your first car, you're bound to probably have an accident here or there, so it's just the case that they're just covering their own backs, really. And of course, as long as you make sure you don't crash, your insurance will gradually go down as you keep driving sensibly anyway. So, you know, there's incentive to obviously drive sensibly and your insurance will go down.
My opinion on the price of insurance these days is I understand the reasons why the insurance companies do this, as young drivers do have a bad reputation, but it's the inexperience of drivers. So maybe the premium should be set on when new drivers pass their test, not dependent on their age, but for how long they have been driving.
I think it's probably necessary for the insurers to charge more for younger drivers because they're inexperienced. They don't know how they're going to drive without somebody sat next to them telling them what to do.
Many young drivers see the labels they are tagged with and the cost of being able to drive as challenging, as it is not always a fair reflection on the individual driver. However, the driver must first show they are able to drive.
The reason I'd probably say that insurance is so high for younger people is probably down to simply the fact that because of inexperience. Plus the fact as well, they tend to get a bit overconfident and cause quite a few crashes. I mean, more often than not, you do find young drivers have bumps and crashes here and there because they just don't have enough experience. So that's just how it goes, really.
They're probably the most likely to get into an accident with not having that guidance. So it's kind of protecting their end for the insurers.
Being tarred with the same brush as irresponsible drivers is frustrating for them, as the dangerous drivers are the ones who give the rest a bad name.
I believe the cost of insurance does have an effect on the number of new drivers you can get, because it does really determine the overall cost, because in some cases your insurance can be nearly as much, if not more, than the actual amount you paid for a car. So really, for a lot of people, it's just the case where it's just not really affordable, and they just have to wait quite a long time, if not maybe not really have a car at all.
I think the price of the insurance probably discourages a lot of young drivers. Probably maybe they can't afford it. Particularly students, I think, are less likely to get insurance with it being so high.
The impact of the price of insurance premiums on young drivers may cause a lot of young drivers either not to be able to afford to run a car, but also to maybe obtain a car and not obtain insurance, so therefore they're driving illegally on the roads, which in turn will impact the rest of us if they do have an accident.
Many young drivers are ready for the road once they have passed their driving test. However, there are many who are ill-equipped to drive safely without more training and guidance. The cost of driving is excessive in many cases, but a necessity to ensure that bad drivers do not cause accidents, and this is why young drivers will have to continue to pay large amounts of money and be cautious when driving to help challenge the negative stereotypes of young drivers that are currently accurate according to news and corporate sources. The question still remains, are young drivers ready for the road?